Hi, welcome to live stream yoga with Louise. Tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today we are layering, heaping on the work incrementally to shift and change our goals. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify when you need to, rest when you need to. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to begin today's practice coming into a nice tall staff seat at the top end of the mat. Let's begin with our feet just inside of hip width distance apart. Make sure that you're not collapsing into your hips and your pelvis, but rather coming out tall through the spine. We're going to extend the arms out in front, then take a big breath in to float your hands overhead. On an exhale, I want you to round out over an imaginary barrel, contracting your abs and giving me a cat-like stretch. Slide your fingers forward, start to stretch your lower back. Add the middle and the upper back as you float the arms up to frame your ears and stretch the entire line of your spine, your arms, and your legs. Then retrace your path back to your original seat. You're going to give me at least 4 more in your own time. After your last spine stretch, start to play with the position of your hands. You can do fingers to the front, fingers to the side, fingers to the back, or you can fist your hands. We're going to come into a tabletop, and if you'd like, you can grow that tabletop line into an inverted plank. So we're going to draw our hands back behind the shoulder line. We're going to bend the knees. We're going to think belly to sky, pausing here. And then if you feel like growing, you're going to extend the legs either in parallel or a slight turnout position. And you're going to come to an inverted plank and you're going to pause. Then make your way from here down onto the bottom. You're going to give me a little fold forward, stretching your lower back and coming back into a tall seat. You're either going to stay here with the fold and the staff seat, or you're going to throw a plow into the mix. So one fold and then one roll onto the shoulders, supporting your lower back. And we're going to do legs parallel to the floor today. And then you're going to come back to your fold. And you're going to do that maybe 5 times, finding the fold and then finding your plow. The next time you find yourself rolling up from the plow, you're going to press into a boat line, either in table or you can extend the legs. But let's do fingertips just softly on the floor. Then bend your knees, ground your feet, and find your way gently down onto the elbows. You can keep your hands alongside the body, or you can tuck your fingers underneath your lower back, or you can place some padding there, perhaps a hand towel to support your tailbone if you're very bony. We're going to begin by bringing the legs into table, and you're going to use your knees to trace a circle clockwise and anti-clockwise. Stay here or do the next few with an extended leg line, tracing a larger circle. Last one. Bend your knees, ground your feet, and flip over onto the side of the body. We're going to set up an elbow side plank. Make sure that that bottom shoulder is strong and that you're not collapsing into the joint. Come out, keep the rib cage up nice and high. We're going to bend the bottom leg, extend the top, and you can do knee stacking one over the other, or you can draw the bottom knee a little bit in front of your bottom hip line. We're going to lift and we're going to hold here. Let's just relax the top arm to our thigh. We're going to hold for maybe 20 seconds. From here, you're going to make your way down. You're going to roll over onto your belly. Let's bend and stack the arms as we start to find a alternating single leg lift. Lifting one leg, grounding it, and then changing. As you begin to find the pattern, make sure that the weight of both hip bones is pressing into the mat equally the whole time and that you're not rolling and lifting one hip bone off the mat. From here, you're going to roll onto your second side and you're going to set up your elbow side plank. Finding the leg line that works for you, you're going to lift and hold for 20 seconds. Strong through that bottom shoulder. Find your way from here back to your original seat on the mat, preparing for your spine stretch. Feet inside of hip width distance apart, nice tall line through the trunk, big breath in to float your hands overhead. Exhale to cat stretch. Then start to slide the fingers forward, give me lift off, hold that long stretch. Keep that straight line through the spine and begin to tap your fingertips to the mat and back 10 times. In framing your ears, pause. Then retrace your path back to your original seat to repeat one more time. Big breath in. Find your cat. Start to slide the arms away and up. Lock that stretch in and begin to tap when you're ready. Then trace your path back to your original seat. We're coming into that inverted plank or that tabletop hold. So pick your hand position. Slide your hands back behind your hip line. Bend your knees. Think belly to sky. If you play from the tabletop position, you're going to come into an alternating march with your knees. If you're playing from the inverted plank position, you're just going to do a small single leg lift. Shooting for roughly 5 to 6 repeats. Then find your way back to your tool seat. We're going to play with that fold, that plow, and then we'll add a little boat into the mix. So one fold forward, one roll onto the shoulders for the plow. And then as you rock up, you're going to place your fingers on the mat, and you're either going to come into a tabletop boat or an extended leg boat. And then you're going to try for another 5 repeats in your own time. Pausing at each station. Let's do one more. Then as you relax your legs back down to the mat, we're going to repeat that leg circle movement, but this time, instead of being dropped down onto the forearms, we're going to shoot for a slightly higher from the mat position, and we're going to extend the arms. And once again, you can play with that hand line. So you could either do knees up, tracing that circle with your knees, or you're going to be working with extended legs. Then find your way from here back onto the side of the body for your side plank on the bottom elbow. Setting up your leg line. You're going to lift and lower your bottom hip for 5. We're going to end in the lift. We're going to lock that lift in, and we're going to play with the top leg. Floating it up to hip height and tapping back out 10 times. Then marrying the two together. So you're going to start hip and leg on the floor. You're going to float up, lifting hip, lifting leg, and then back down 5 times. Then you're going to roll over onto your belly. This time we're going to extend the arms out in front. And we are going to find an opposite arm and leg, lift and lower. So you're bearing down, let's bear down the right hand, left leg, and then let's float the other two. And then start to alternate. End with one arm and leg lifted, hold it for 10, bearing down on the other two. Then change, hold. Now give me a teeny tiny chest lift. Just bringing your face off the mat and start to rapid fire swim freestyle with a fluttering like motion through the feet and the hands. Then bring everything down to the mat. Bend your elbows, place your palms alongside your bosom. We're going to press up into a plank, and once you've found the plank, we're going to play with it. Tuck your toes under, brace your core. You can come up with a bent knee if you need it, and then transition into the plank. Once you've found the plank, we're going to do an alternating single leg lift, trying to keep our body line as parallel to the mat as we can. From here, we're going to find our way onto the second side of the body to complete our side plank work. Set up your frame first. Take a moment. When you're ready, you're going to lift and lower the bottom hip for 5. You're going to end in the lift, hold it, and then begin to play with the top leg, lifting and lowering for 10. Just to hip height and back. Then peel back down to the mat and do the hip and the leg lift simultaneously and reground for 5. Find your way from here back to your original tall stop seat at the top end of the mat. We're coming back into our spine stretch. Find your nice tall seat. Float the arms overhead. Big breath in. On an exhale, find your cat. Slide the arms away and up. Set up your spine stretch. Keep that long stretch through the spine and open up your arms into a soft T. We're going to tap to the floor and back. Into the T-frame, and then pretend that you've got a whole walnut between your two shoulder blades. Crack the walnut so you're working behind the shoulder line and back 5 times. Then bring your arms to frame your ears, tap back out to the mat and retrace your path back to your original seat. We're going to repeat one more time. Big breath in to float your hands overhead. Round out in cat. Slide your hands forward. Start to look for your back line as you achieve lift off. Lock that stretch into the spine in and open up the arms into T. Keep the T frame as you tap for 10. Then we're going to stop in the T-frame and we're going to crack the walnut for 5. Bring your arms alongside your ears and retrace your path back to your original seat. We're coming back into either our inverted plank or our tabletop play. So pick your hand position, slide your hands back behind the shoulder line, bend your knees, ground your feet, press up into the table. If you're playing from the table, you're going to give me a double pulsing knee draw. And you're going to shoot for roughly 6 repeats. Or if you're working from the inverted plank, you're going to give me a double pulsing lift. Once you've done roughly 5 or 6 repeats, you're going to find your way into our little fold, and we're going to fold. So we're going to do fold, plow, boat, but we're going to play with the feet. And we're going to fashion ourselves a full boomerang movement. So you're going to start seated up nice and tall, and you're going to cross the right ankle over the left. You're going to keep this cross leg pattern as you come into a forward fold. You're going to hold it as you roll back into the plow. Then you're going to V the legs out to change the cross, now leading with the left leg on top. You're going to rock up into a boat. It could be a bent line. It could be an extended line. Legs are still crossed left over right. We're going to come into a fold, but this time we're going to interlace the hands behind and we're going to think nose to knee. Keep the legs crossed to sit up nice and tall. Let's repeat. Add a soft reaching forward fold. Come into plow, supporting your back. Change the cross of your legs. Come into your boat line, keeping the cross right over left. Sit down to fold forward, hands interlaced behind. Keep your right leg crossed over your left as you come into a reaching forward fold. Find your way into a plow. Change the cross of your legs. Rock up into a boat. Add a forward fold, hands interlaced behind. Sit up nice and tall to extend the arms out in front. Reaching forward fold. Plow. Change the cross of your legs. Boat. Maybe you can start to play sans arms. Forward fold with the hands interlaced. Let's shoot for 2 more sets. You know where you're going to. Find your rhythm. Last one. Find your forward fold. Then a plow. Change your legs into a boat. Into a forward fold. Hands interlaced. Then keeping your legs crossed, we are going to come into a modified hollow hold. So you're going to think of rolling down onto the spine. As soon as your lower back touches the mat, draw your legs into table and hold arms at about knee height. Work those abs. Stay here or drop your whole frame closer to the mat. So you're thinking banana and hold. Then release down to the mat. Bend your knees, ground your feet. We're coming back into those hip twisted leg circles, and you're either going to keep your arms long and relaxed at your side, palm down, or you can tuck your hands underneath your bottom to support your back. Maybe your tailbone feels a little bit sensitive. You're going to float either knees to 90, and you're going to trace that circle with your knees. Or you could be working with an extended leg line, making a larger circle on the ceiling with your toes, and you're alternating one clockwise, one anti-clockwise. Let's shoot for 2 more sets. Last one. Bend your knees, ground your feet. We're coming into a modified chest lift, and once we found it, we're going to come into a slow modified 100 movement. And we'll keep the feet grounded on this one. Begin in neutral. As you find your tilt and imprint, you're going to think of the 2 hip bones pulling in, your navel dropping down, your ribs dropping down, and the abs contracting. Float the arms at about hip height. Lock that chest lift in. And then slowly float the arms up in line with your knees and slowly drop them back down. You're inhaling for a slow count of 5 as the arms float up, and you're exhaling for a slow count of 5 as the arms drop down. Last one. Reground to the mat, roll over to your side and set up your elbow side plank. Take a moment to just find yourself on the mat. We can just relax that top hand to the thigh. So we're going to find a hip lift, a leg lift. We're going to add a leg pull, and then we're going to retrace our path down. Hip, leg, pull. Hip, leg, pull. Stay here, or maybe you'd like to float the top arm as you play with that same movement. If that's not enough, you can tuck the top hand behind your head and keep the elbow reaching for the sky while you play with the same movement. And we're shooting for roughly 10 repeats. Let's make this our last one, and then we're going to find our way from here onto the belly. Arms are long and extended. This time, we're coming into some simultaneous locust lift. So we're going to do a double arm and leg lift simultaneously. I'm going to demo before we do it together. So you're either going to come up into a soft bow-like frame, or if your back is tender, you're going to come up into a smaller lift, hovering arms, nose, and legs just off the mat. And you're going to shoot for 10 repeats in your own time. We're going to end in the lift, either Superman or locust. Maybe you'd like to take it into a bow hold, bending your legs, trying to bind to either your feet or your ankles, and looking for a nice hollow frame through the back as you kick the feet up and away from your bottom. Then release from here into a cat stretch, wherever you will play. Think 4-point meal with a hollow belly and a round back, and give yourself a few breaths here, trying to stretch through the lower and mid back. From here, we're coming back into our working plank line. So you're going to straighten up your back line, entangle, and when you're ready, you're going to slide the legs back one at a time, coming into a full plank. This time we're going to look for a double pulsing lift and switch. Keeping our plank line parallel to the mat throughout, not flicking the leg, doing a controlled lift with a double pulse. We're not rotating through the hips, so it's a small lift only to about hip height. As you complete your last set, you're going to gently come onto the knees, you're going to flip over onto your second side, and we're going to repeat our last side plank work before we change our orientation on the mat. Setting up your side plank, you're going to give me a hip lift, a leg lift, and then a leg pull. And you're going to shoot for 10 repeats. Maybe you're doing the first few with your top arm relaxed to your top hip. And then maybe you'd like to transition and have the arm floating in T. If that feels too easy, tuck the hand behind your head. From here, we're going to change our orientation on the mat, and you are going to come to a tall kneel. If you are on the short side, the middle of the mat might be an easy place to be because you can just find your extension on both sides. If you are on the tall side, you might need to take a slightly off-center position on the mat. All right, so when you're ready, set up your gate line. You've got knee and big toe more or less on a straight line. And we are going to softly just hug our thighs with both hands. We're going to slide down on one thigh and then the other. And you're going to keep playing tick-tock style. Looking to open up and stretch on one side of your rib cage each time you find a sliding pattern. One more to each side, and then we're going to set up a high gate line on the mat. So you're going to focus on your bent leg side, and we're going to find a drop down and anchor onto that arm. You can do a flat hand, you can do a high spider fingertips, you can do a fist, you could even modify with a block or two if you can't easily reach the floor. All right. So you're going to set up your line. Your top hand is either relaxed, floating up to the sky, or preferably tucked behind your head, and your elbow is reaching for the ceiling the whole time, so you're not bringing that elbow in as you play. All right, so we're going to float our extended leg to hip height. That's our working neutral line. You're going to brace into your foot as you kick forward, and then you're going to soften the toe as you pull back behind your hip. One kick to the front, one pull to the back. Let's do 10. In the pullback, stretch the line of that leg, hold it, hold it. Then find your way from here back to your original position on the mat, your original, let's call it basic gate setup. Hands relaxed to the tops of your thighs. As you find your first slide, you're going to arc frame and you're going to flick. And we're going to release the rest of the hand that was just anchoring you on the mat. So we're sliding only on one side now. All right, last one. You're going to come down on that bottom arm. You're going to anchor through the top leg, and you're going to take the top leg maybe just in front of your hip line. Then you're going to extend your bent leg, and you're going to tuck it behind the other one. We're going to come all the way down to the bottom hip. So you can think of this as a modified side cobra. Without collapsing into the bottom hip, without collapsing into the bottom shoulder throughout, excuse me, you're going to try to give me 5 slow lifting and lowering actions, but you're pausing in the lift and you're pausing in the seat. Strengthening that bottom shoulder, working into the sides of your trunk, working your spine. Last one. We're going to find our way from here into a tall kneel. You can keep toes tucked under or bridges relaxed, feet stacking directly behind your knees. You're going to take the L frame between your index finger and thumb. You're going to hook it around your waist, and you're going to come into a supported back bend. Bumping your hips forward over your knees, looking for the stretch into your thighs, your belly, your chest, opening up your throat and peeking up to the sky. Then realign shoulders over hips over knees in your kneel and open up your arms into a soft T-frame, palms down. We're going to circle for 5 in one direction. Change. Then drop your fingers down and circle again 5 in one direction. 5 in the opposite. Then change, fingers up. 5 in one direction. 5 in the opposite. Then relax your arms down. Nod your chin to your chest for a moment. Then bring your chin line back to neutral and sort of frame your ears softly with your arms and hold onto each elbow. We're going to hug in, and then we're going to draw the arms back behind our ear line, and we're going to hold. Keep a small little 12 o'clock tilt through your pelvis. We are coming into a standing forward fold from here. So as you let go of the arms and drop them to the mat, you're going to tuck your toes under, you're going to pull your knees off the floor, you're going to anchor your feet as you come into a forward fold, hands to floor, or you could be working shins or thighs, and you're going to hold that fold. Then you're going to try to cross the right foot over the left, and you're going to fold again. Maybe you're adding a soft rotational twist to one side, and then a soft rotational twist to the other side. Then finding your way from here back to parallel, and back to a tall kneel on the mat to set up your gate line on the second side. Take a moment, check your knee, check your toe. And when you're ready, you're going to start to play with that thigh slide on either side, making one ear and one shoulder heavy to the floor and alternating side to side. Then set up your ground with your hand on the floor and pick the top arm position that works for you. You're going to float your top leg up to hip height, that's your working line. You're going to do one kick to the front and one pull. Brace as you kick, soft as you pull. We're going to end in that soft, reaching stretch. Then peel back up to your original position, arms relaxed alongside. We're going to do a slide on the extended leg. We're going to add an arc and a flick. All right, last one. We're going to set up that staggered side cobra. So think of bringing your extended legs slightly in front of your hip line. You're going to anchor on the bottom arm, and then you're going to extend the other leg. You're going to find a staggered clip position, and you're going to come down on the bottom hip. You're going to give me a slow lift and pause, and a slow seat and pause. And we're shooting for 5 repeats. Arm is slightly away from your shoulder, so not directly beneath your shoulder. We're going to end in the lift. And then you're going to slide the bottom leg in, and you're going to set up your camel line, feet relaxed or toes tucked under. Find your brace around the waist, bump your hips forward over your knees, and pause in your supported back bend. Thinking throat and chest looking up to the sky. Then realign your tall kneel, float the arms overhead to loosely frame your head. Hold on to the elbows, and then draw your hands, or rather your arms, back behind your ear line and hold the stretch. Keep a small 12 o'clock tilt through the pelvis. Find your way from here into your forward fold when you're ready, thinking of transitioning through a haunch line. Hold your fold for a bit, legs first in parallel. Then maybe crossing the left ankle over the right, pausing in that stretch. Then maybe taking a soft rotational twist to one side, keeping the cross of your legs, and then maybe twisting to the opposite side. Then bring both hands down, pause, legs are still crossed. Uncross them. Take one last forward fold to the middle and hold for 10. And soften your knees, peel up, restacking, realigning your body. Big breath in for a slow count of 10 as you angel wing the arms up. You're going to find your way into a steeple press on the exhale, and you're going to come down the center line to end in front of your heart and close off your playtime for today. Thank you so much for coming out and playing with me today. Till next time, keep it light.